Welcome to the Superfacts Show on the Superfacts Network. Featuring St. Laz, who also hosts the popular web series Gem Pop, and music journalist Mark Walter Ward. They have discussions about hip hop, culture, society, philosophy, and everything else. Now available on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. What up, world? It's your boy Mark Walter Ward, the Superfacts Show, Superfacts Network. Today we got with us a superlative jazz singer, Miss Carmen Jackson. How you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you today, dear?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm probably gonna get accused of saying this a lot, but I actually end up doing these episodes with a lot of people whose music I end up loving. So people have heard me say something similar, but I'm doing a lot better because I got to hear your Where Do We Go song video. I listened to it like at least 10 times. My wife said to tell you that you have a beautiful singing voice and great choice in instrumentation. And she's a classically trained pianist, and she also wanted you to know that that it takes a real strong singer to be able to match such of a strong musical background of the piece. I don't quite know the words. I'm more of a hip hop guy, so.
Where do we go from here in our lives so dear? Well, you tell your wife I said thank you so very much. And initially, outside of singing in church, I was classically trained for a little while, for a little minute. I had to learn, how to sing in a different language. So that was challenging. And I was a young kid at the time. So it was cool. So that is a superb compliment from your wife. You make sure you tell her I said thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, no doubt. The video, I ain't trying to get too much into your business, but I listened to some of your interviews. So you said it was based on a real situation.
Right.
How true to life, I'm talking the dialogue and everything, was that opening scene where you were acting?
That was very true. Very true. Very true. I was trying to act out, my emotions and what I was going through at the time when I wrote the song. And it was true to the point, because I had spent 7 years with this gentleman, not the guy in the movie, the video, but a gentleman, and I won't say his name, but at
Right.
any rate,
Did the actor
and
did the actor favor him, in maybe not in appearance, but in wardrobe? Because I kind of
yes,
got an impression of what kind of guy he was just by what he was wearing.
yes, absolutely. So I had him dressed, as if, the person I was dealing with would dress. So he did dress the part. He didn't resemble him, in looks because he was much taller than him. But yeah, but he was a classy dude. But I'm like, okay, where do we go from here, dude? Okay, you're not gonna
See,
keep up with my time.
if one of my daughters brought home a dude dressed like that, I mean, they can do whatever they want, but I tell them, I pull them to the side and be, look, I'm gonna tell you right now, that dude right there too smooth for your own good.
You gonna tell him right too. You gonna tell him absolutely right. Don't let the smooth taste fool you, okay? Because they'll be the ones.
Yeah, no doubt. So
I mean, not to knock his character. He was a nice person, but as I'm not gonna talk about guys, but I'm just gonna say, I'll say he was trying to have his cake and ice cream too. I'll just say that.
Well, I mean, I can speak for men a little bit, like men all tough or whatever, but men is actually really insecure. And I feel a lot of times cheating comes from a place of insecurity. And an insecure person is only as faithful as their options.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of insecurity, and then I probably was too independent, and he was used to like a needy type. Not to
Yeah.
say anything against a person that needs help, but I think that he was intimidated a little bit too.
I mean, I'm sure you probably encountered that a few times because I mean, I'm not being hyperbolic. Like your singing ability is I mean, like on one of your interviews, I heard you said you hope to win a Grammy for this song, and I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And I imagine a few men are intimidated by a woman who's mastered a skill more so than any skill that they've ever mastered in their life. If not jealous, you know, let alone intimidated.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Because some guys do get jealous. Yeah, they do. They get jealous, which I'm just a normal person, just like anybody else. You know what I mean? If you're seeking a relationship, so I just tell myself, okay, I'm not even going to seek that. But I notice, like when I go out to the jams or go out to a gig or something, it'd be like guys actually be scared to hold a conversation. You know what I mean? Do that make sense? They be like, some guys be scared to like, just talk.
I
Like
mean,
I'm not human or something.
because I mean, well, like again, like when you have that next level voice, you know, you remove yourself from some person that's like good at karaoke, so they think that like that ability extends to every aspect of your persona, other than, you know, in every other aspect, your Carmen Jackson human being.
Yeah, yeah, I've kind of experienced that, but I tell people, get to know me before you judge me. But I could just walk in a room and people just be like, I don't know. When I walk in a room, they just get to or something, or like that afraid look, like, oh, here she come. And I'm like, what happened? What just happened? I just walked in the room.
Maybe it's somebody in the room that they know looking for a singer on the song, and they saw you and they like, oh, there goes my chance.
Could be, could be. But that's
So,
the mhm.
oh, now, well, you know, we got to talk about where do we go from here. You know, like I said, I did my homework, and you know, from listening to a couple interviews, that song's underwent somewhat of a journey. So can you kind of walk me through the start to the finish?
With the song.
Yeah.
Well, from beginning, it was like, a good relationship. Um, it lasted 7 years, so everything, the trips and going everywhere all over the place, enjoying each other. Then it went to, okay, um, what's going on here? You act a little weird here. So look, 7 years is too long for me not to have a commitment, and we just, having all this fun and enjoying each other. You got to tell me what, you got to define this relationship some type of way, because I could be dealing with somebody else and not wasting time with you. But he didn't want that to occur. He didn't want me to stop, you know doing all these wonderful things, from traveling to sex. I'm gonna just keep it real.
And
Okay.
that's how we got here.
So, of course, everybody wants that good part, right?
Yeah.
But so I said, look, if you can't tell me where do we go from here, then I have to stop attaching myself to you, because women get over, can get super emotional. You know what I mean? And 7 years is a long time. That's a long time,
Yeah.
not to really have a commitment from somebody. So I had to cut it off. Then he started doing all kinds of crazy stuff because I didn't want to be bothered no more. So once I was finished, I was finished. That was that. So I'm the person that ended it, and I wrote this song about it,
Um,
telling my story.
I mean, that's an awesome answer, and thank you for explaining that, because that makes it even more doper. But I meant the journey of the song itself, because didn't
Oh,
you like originally record it and then remade it? And
yeah. So I originally recorded this song before I was in an auto accident. I had great musicians. Okay, don't get me wrong. So the sound was great. You know what I mean? But something, still felt like it was missing. And I took it to a lot of people, and they was like, "Oh, I like it, blah blah blah." But at the time, it wasn't. I'm just have to be honest. It wasn't like what radio promoters were looking for at the time. So, once I got myself back together, healed up and stuff from the accident, I said, okay, I'm going to take a different approach to this song. I ended up using the same pianist. I switched up the saxophonist, Dane Bays. That's who I used on this version of the song.
shout out Dame
And
Bays, that saxophone was mean.
man, that boy is dangerous, right? Yes. So I switched up all the musicians except the pianist. So that was my ideology of the take of the song. I said I need something totally different. And then I added totally different backgrounds, and it just popped. and that sax, oh, he just gave it a different tone. The bass player gave it a different feel, and the drummer, Alex Brooks on the drums. That's a bad boy there, because he's played with Marlena Shaw and some of everybody. I can't even go down his list at the moment, but yeah, so I changed the dynamics and the musicians, and that's what gave it the flavor that it has now. And then I just redid the whole vocals on it.
It came out like I'm not hip enough to jazz, so I don't know how realistic your statement is. Because I'm one of the people that, like, I feel like every boxer should say, I think I can win the title. So when you said you were going for the Grammy, how realistic is that? And that's not me saying I think it's wrong. It's me saying I have no idea, because that's that's the best jazz singing song I've heard in 2021. So
I think it has a great chance, and I'm working on that now as far as Billboard and these radio promoters and stuff like that as we speak. So I think it has a great chance. Huh?
Playlists and all that.
Yes, I think it has a great chance of winning one.
Well, quality wise, I co-sign it.
Thank you so much. I think, I'm not just saying that because it's me. I think the texture of the song is great. The meaning of the song is great. I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think a lot of people had, maybe gone through something similar, of what I've gone through. And then the uniqueness of each and every musician that played on that song, they gave it their all. I mean, it was just a blast in the studio recording this with these guys. It was just, whoa, it was smoking hot. Okay. And I think every musician, they're at the height level of playing, if that makes sense to you. I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, if you play basketball and there's 4 NBA players and 1 NCAA player, it's not the same. There's levels, like Meek Mill would say.
Right. So they're at that particular level. So yeah, so I think it has a great opportunity. I just hope the audience thinks so, as well as I do, as well as all the radio people and stuff of that nature. So it did hit #1 on Starfleet Music Pool's charts twice in 1 week. It hit #1 in their chart. So I think it has a good chance.
Oh, congratulations. That means it was the most requested song on 2 different days in 1 week.
Correct.
Good job. Good job. In one of the interviews I watched, you and the young lady, you didn't know who Guru was from Gangstar. She asked you about Jazzmatazz. She didn't know it either, because she called him Guru at first. R.I.P. Guru. I'm curious if you've learned about Jazzmatazz in the interim.
That you got me thinking back, like, oh.
Okay, here's what it is. I know you've heard of Gangstar, the rap group, right? DJ Premier.
Right.
And the rapper's name was Guru. Lemonade was a popular drink, and it still is. I catch more props and stunts than Bruce Willis, like 1992, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so around 1993 or 94, somewhere in that time frame, he released a project independently, outside of Gangstar, called Jazzmatazz. And it was him rapping over instrumentals that was all jazz musicians. And it was so well received, there ended up being 3 volumes of it.
Oh, see, now I got to research that. Huh. I still haven't had, now you done brought it back to my attention, because when she mentioned it, I probably didn't know, tell her what I was going through. But now I'm going to make a note and research that, because I do recall I may have heard something like that, because I was like, okay,
the first one was super well regarded. I mean, I think it might have even got nominated for a Grammy.
Because I'm like, okay, this is the first time I heard a rapper, with a live band. So
what? That's not true at all. The Roots.
Well, the Roots, they not really like rappers.
Their first like 10 Def Jam studio albums as rappers. Y'all just know them from that damn show.
Okay, well, I have to be honest.
They done got gentrified, man. They're a rap group. Oh, you went on mute for a minute, Ma. So I'll run my mouth until you unmute.
Rappers
Oh, there you
don't
go.
know, the stuff that musicians go through, yada yada yada. They put on the track and that's it. You know what I'm saying? As far as musicianship, it's a totally different world. You know what I mean? And I had to commend, like, when I saw Jay-Z on the stage, with a band, and well, Beyonce not rap, but when she had her all-female band. So, I was like, okay, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a different world, you
Well,
know.
a lot of Southern artists perform their music with bands, Southern rappers before, they really got the national shine. Like, man, I love when they have those concerts when someone does their whole album with a live band. Like, you can't see his head, but that's Nas from the Kennedy Center on top of me. And, you can get the album where he does all the Illmatic at the Kennedy Center with the orchestra.
Oh, wow, now I love me some Nas. Okay.
Oh, well, I followed you on Instagram. I'll DM you all this stuff. But what, white people always asking black people for help to be explain shit, but this ain't one of them situations. I just don't know about jazz like that. So
Oh,
I was hoping you could help me out with a few things.
yes.
All right. So what makes someone, like, I saw that Billie Holiday is considered a jazz singer, but I've also heard her described as a soul singer. And then, there's the whole singer-songwriter genre. So what makes, and I always find labels to be a little boring, but I'm always interested in people's reasoning behind them. So what makes someone a jazz singer as opposed to a soul singer or a singer-songwriter or whatever?
Oh, no, that's a very good question. So, a jazz singer, well, now, see, that can get very technical because me initially, I come from a jazz background. I was born into
We
jazz,
was gonna get to that most definitely.
but I'm just trying to
Oh, yo,
get to the
please
root,
let them know. Let them know.
get to the root of the question. So Billie Holiday, I mean, yeah, they say she was a jazz singer, soul singer, but I've done a lot of research and I've watched a lot of her movies, and I can see, okay, she was dealing with a lot of pain. So when you sing jazz, you can combine that with the blues. But singing jazz is a lot of it's a lot of theory, a lot of improvisation, what you feeling emotionally. You need to know your scales, first of all, when you singing jazz, from, all your scales, because it's more of a technical skill, and until you put your soul in your improv. You know what I mean? If that
Right,
makes sense to you, your improvisation into it. And it's a lot of studying into jazz. It's not something that you just like jump into and say, oh, I'm gonna sing jazz. Because it was, even though I come from a musical family, it was a lot of stuff I had to still learn
right,
to get it right. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna just, because my uncle Milt Jackson, I'm gonna just sing some jazz. Oh, no, no. It's like you gotta learn your scales. You gotta, you gotta know your intonation, your resignation, all of these things, your vowels, pronunciations, enunciations. That's what's considered going into a jazz singer. Blues is more just singing, oh, they called it Stormy Monday. Yeah, you just singing. Tuesday's just as bad. Yeah. That's more the soul. You know what I'm saying? Just singing. But
gotcha.
when you get into, the jazz and hitting them notes and going where the musician's going, yeah, that's a different ball game. So did I kind of answer your question?
Oh, you beyond. I caught that. I definitely caught that. I love
Okay.
a detailed answer. I'm in the nomenclature and semantics. I'm all about that stuff like that. Um, well, more on the jazz thing. Do you think people realize how much jazz influence and remains a part of things like hip hop? I mean, just really any genre. Because like one thing, a lot of times when I'm watching a show and I hear a great song that I never heard before, and I ain't trying to be vain, but I got a pretty good amount of musical knowledge,
Hmm.
and I do the whole Siri, what am I listening to? I'm struck by how many times it's a jazz song.
Really?
Yeah, and then a lot of times I go investigate the song, and it done got sampled like 40 times in 3 different decades of hip hop.
Oh, which is a cool thing. That's a cool thing. So I wish my song gets sampled, but look, let my song get sampled by somebody. But I think I put a different twist on it. But I can see that because my uncle told me that Master P had approached him about sampling one of his songs, but I don't know. I don't think that happened. But yeah, I can actually see that. And then my uncle, he if you ever seen that movie What Women Want with
Yeah,
Mel Gibson, and
yeah.
that song by the Temptations was playing, and his solo was playing through the whole movie. His daughter, my cousin, she got so upset. She was like, "Yo, you seen that movie What Women Want? You know, Daddy's solo being played all through the movie." She was like, "Go see that movie." I went to go see the movie. I was like, "Oh yeah, I hear his solo or through it." But she couldn't sue or nothing because he did them a favor. You know what I mean? So she couldn't collect no royalties or nothing. And that movie did quite well. You know what I mean?
Shoot,
So
it's still I still see it on the front page of streamers. I see that all the time.
really, so
Yeah, on
yeah,
like Netflix or Amazon or whatever it's on. I mean, I don't keep up with it like that.
she couldn't collect any royalties because he did a favor. But yeah, I can see a lot of people sampling some jazz stuff because there's been some great jazz music out. You know what I mean? From Miles to my uncle to Dizzy, so
Uh,
many of them.
I see, and I'm sorry I took you too far from the original question though. But the original
I'm
question
sorry.
was, oh no, that's my bad. Do you do you think people realize how much jazz influenced today's music?
I don't think they do. No.
Yeah, I don't either. Like I mean, like I said, I kind of learned on accident. Now, you just mentioned your Uncle Miles. So, I don't know how well you can see, but I got a bunch of records back there. I got a few Miles, some Thelonious Monks, Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, a little bit of
Oh,
a little bit of Al Jarreau. Oh,
oh,
I got mad Nina Simone. I've been
I
listening.
can't even see him really, but you got Mad Nina Simone.
Well, they ain't visible because it's a hip hop show. Mostly that's like rap records visible, but
Oh, okay.
I spent like half my time with being raised by a black family, and Nina Simone was constantly playing.
Really?
I mean, yeah, those those talking about those rappers that sampling. You got to figure the ones in the '90s that their parents were probably listening to a lot of jazz, so
Right,
they probably
right,
wanted to sample the songs that they liked a lot, just like Puffy did. He just grew up around disco music or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So, so now that I told you my limited knowledge, what are some essentials that I'm overlooking that I should probably, stream or purchase or whatever?
As far as jazz artists, I mean, well, you about covered them from Miles, Thelonious Monk, Charlie Parker, The Bird, um, Mickey Roker, hell of a drummer back then. Who else? Jeez, there's so many. Tommy Flanagan. I can go on and on and
Hey,
on.
let me ask you something. This might be too vague, and I feel bad I can't remember this. There's this dude who made like one of the most influential jazz albums ever. It's got a blue cover, and he like went to a house and stopped doing heroin. I believe he was a trumpeter. He was cool with
Miles
Miles Davis.
Davis.
There you go.
Miles Davis.
No, not Miles Davis. He was cool with all them, but he had like I don't know. I don't know. See,
Oh,
I
guys, you gonna have me. I'm
I saw a
stuck right
documentary on
now.
it and I went and listened to it, and I can't turn it on to look at Spotify. I might knock the Zoom off. I got it saved in my like albums. I'll hit you up though and tell you what it is.
Yeah, you definitely gotta hit me up because now my brain is wondering, like, who is that one?
Then another thing I heard you talking about on an interview about the lack of music in city public schools and how you think it has a negative impact on children, which I totally agree with you. But
Hmm.
you know, well, do you consider that a sign of systemic racism?
I'm sorry.
Do you consider that to be a sign of systemic racism?
I won't say. Well,
because I guarantee like the
I
more
try not
wealthy
to
school,
get
the
into.
wealthier schools in the district, I guarantee they got a music budget if desired.
Yeah, they do, and they get a lot of the musicians, well-known musicians, to come teach at those schools too. So yeah, it can be a form of racism or a form of not
So let
having
me ask you
enough
this then.
money.
So what do you call it when, because they also took music out schools, out all them poor white kids in Appalachia, all them people in West Virginia and Pennsylvania and all that stuff. And maybe we would have had less angry Trump voters if they'd had music in school when they were kids.
Now, I can agree with that. I think every child has the right to learn music, no matter what color it is, because in this music that we do called jazz, we have no prejudice. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Shout out Red
saxophone,
Rodney.
huh?
Shout out Red Rodney.
Hey, because the saxophonist on my song, Where Do We Go From Here? Now, he a big old white boy, and he my white brother, okay? He comes spend the night, he drive 8 hours to come spend the night at my house anytime, which he does a lot, you know what I'm saying? So we as musicians, we don't have any color, you know what I'm saying? But other people that can be stupid, because that's what I call them, stupid, when they involve race into these type of issues. But I think every child should have the opportunity to learn music. Now it gets to me when I'm going to the government situation now. Well, why did you take these things out of the schools? But now you got, all these fools killing and doing crazy stuff, which they can do other things just besides music. Then, you can put these rec centers back open, let the children, if they like to draw or, box, basketball, whatever it is, a lot of these things used to be free, or maybe $1 or $2, where they can go to the rec center and do these type of things to keep them on the street. So, to do whatever their passion is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
music is,
I grew up playing basketball. Rec center, $10 a year. You can play on the
yeah,
rec center team basketball, no extra money. Open
right.
gym, dances, all that stuff. Ain't none of them play. Then this is in the DC area, and I know it's worse in Detroit. Ain't none of them places open no
Man,
more.
there's nothing open here. You know what I'm saying? It's bad. And I have a radio show that I do every other Wednesday, and I speak about this, and I be telling, look, y'all need to do something. But
Yeah,
they only thinking about these other issues, which they need to get these rec centers back open, get some of these little drugs off the streets, do some gun control. You know what I'm saying? Because there's too many of our young people dying, and it's not just here; it's everywhere.
yeah. I mean, well, jobs, economic empowerment. That I mean, well, most people choose to sell drugs because I mean, who that
They
wants to
don't have
work
no
at
job,
McDonald's?
right?
I mean, I wouldn't want to eat. I don't blame people for making that decision.
I
Like it's
don't
not like
either.
the entry.
You can't take care of a family on that. I mean, I'm not trying to overtalk you, but you can't
That's all
take
good.
care of a family if you got 2 or 3 children, and you may have a maid or something, and pay rent, put food on the table. You can't do that off a McDonald's salary. So they need to make that $15 to $20 an hour, really.
Hell yeah. I mean, you can't even have a car payment and pay insurance with what you make at McDonald's. You got that right. But
Right.
back to the music thing. Like you're interesting to me in more ways than just that you make good music, because I can tell that you're definitely a student of music. So I'm curious. Well, first, have you ever heard DC go-go music?
DC go-go music, no.
Like the butt would probably be the example you would know, but that's kind of like
Doing the
watered
butt
down.
or
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that was go-go, but that's really like not how go-go is. In DC, they take like a popular song and they remake it with a lot of drums and they sing it live. Have you ever watched The Wire? Big G's a famous go-go singer in DC. I was just curious though. But
Mm-mm.
do you like any rock music?
Oh, of course. I love all music. I actually had a few guys, they wanted me to do some rock and roll with them. And they'll probably laugh at me if they hear this interview, because when they first sent me some music, and I was like, why you sending me this damn devil music? Right. That was when I first was listening to the song. And then he called me back. He was like, Carmen, that's not no devil worshiping music, girl. because I was, trying to interpret, what they were saying and what they was doing. So it was more of a kind of a like gospel type rock. And once I learned, you know what I'm saying, and researched it, I understood what they were doing. So it took me to a different realm and a different level to, research, some of the artists that they were telling me about and some of their music. And I come to have a passion for it.
But you never did
Like
that album?
Slither. Huh?
You never did the album? The
A
rock
rock
album?
album?
Yeah, you
No,
never.
I need to do one. I really do.
Hey,
Seriously.
you know who Brittany Howard is?
Brittany Howard. I heard that name, but I don't know who is
The
that.
she's the lead singer for Alabama Shakes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so she had that big hit video with Terry Crews in it where she's like getting off work and like it looks to be like a.
Yeah.
All right, so like my wife likes her a lot, right? So
Uh-huh.
I copped her discography, and one album was called Thunder Bitch, and and
Really?
and, and it's her with a rock band, and she's singing rock.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the first
Well, you
thing I
gonna have
thought
me
of.
go research that one. Okay, because yeah. So because they had got me into, the Slither with the Velvet Revolver and all these different type of artists and stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to do me a little rock album once I find me a tight rock band.
I mean, this is a trope, but good musicians like good music.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I love all music. I even like some country western. So, if it's good, it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Another thing back to educating me about jazz a little bit. Like I said, I spent time with a black family and a white family, and I grew up listening to Stax records, Motown, all that good type stuff. Not really like Jackson 5, they like more grown material. Um,
Hmm.
and one thing I miss, like I ain't one of them. Like I got this concept I call old brain or old ear, where you reach a point where you cannot enjoy new music even if it's good just because you're so locked into your taste,
Hmm.
and I try to avoid that. But one thing I noticed with new R&B, it's either about sex, partying, doing drugs, and it's not like that topical R&B like with Marvin and people like that. And I'm curious in jazz, like when you hear jazz singers, is there topical jazz singers, or is it mostly like love oriented music or relationship music or?
Um, it's probably more of what that person emotion is at that time, or whatever they wrote about. But I can relate to what you're saying in reference to. I'm not trying to shy away from the question, but I'm trying to answer it at the same time. No, a lot of artists don't make that type of music that the family that you grew up with, that had some type of significant meaning, like a Marvin Gaye, what's going on,
Stevie, songs in the key
Stevie.
of life, all that good stuff, Earth, Wind, and
Yeah,
Fire. I mean, the Gap Band, you dropped a bomb on me. People don't even know this. That's about the Tulsa Massacre. People don't even
I
know that.
know. I know you got to do, people don't do their homework. They just be listening to the music and don't do your homework. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
mean, over top me, there's a picture of Fred Hampton. That's way before Judas and the Black Messiah come out. I feel if you're gonna be part of a culture, you better know about that damn culture. And like
That's right.
and like I grew up mad. I ain't never go to school with another white person until I went to a black college. And mad at my parents' partners or uncles have been Panthers or things of that nature, or
Yeah.
participated in like civil rights marches. Oh yeah, I mean, I've lived in DC, so shoot,
Wow. Okay.
I went to the Million Man March.
Oh, I know that was a beautiful thing.
I saw Ice Cube by Spike Lee like about 20 feet away from me. I damn sure
Oh,
wasn't gonna go
wow.
say nothing to him though.
I bet they bodyguards was everywhere, right?
Like Fruit of Islam looking cats, like them type of cats that be with Mike Tyson when he first got out of prison.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, but just being there and just being present there
But I
had to
mean,
be
but I
like,
mean, I don't ever want to be fronting though. Like I had to get through there on my way to school. I didn't like really attend the Million Man March. I walked through it. You know what I
oh
mean?
well.
But I still caught like an hour and a half of it because you could barely walk.
Oh wow. But I mean, just that experience, like wow, just seeing all those people,
Oh yeah.
for that movement, just for that movement had to be awesome. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah, I was in DC for the Trump inauguration too, and he, I don't know if you remember, he tried to say that he had more people than the Million Man March, and I didn't necessarily go to the Trump inauguration, but I was in the city, and I could tell you that the metro system was way more overloaded during the Million Man March than it was during the Trump inauguration, and then
mm,
pictures, it was a million people. They tried to lie. It was a million people out there.
really?
Oh, man, they try to put down anything like that. They tried to say it was like less than 700,000. But then
Oh wow.
if you I mean, we getting way tangential, but when people deep dived and did those little like picture counts of the Trump crowd,
Right.
and the number they came up with, is basically the same area the Million Man March was, and there was like 5 times the amount of people in the Million Man March picture. So if you did the math on it, you got your million.
Right. Wow.
But they
Isn't
never
that
got the
something?
credit for it, at least amongst quote unquote mainstream media.
Of course not. It's all political. It's
Yeah.
all political mumbo jumbo. But I will say this, not trying to stray away from your question, but I wish that, like a lot of these artists versus use the sex, which sex sells, I ain't mad at them, get their money. But it would be kind of good, to get back to some texture stuff, some old school stuff. And that's what I was trying to make the feel of this song, put a little old school with some new school, you know what I mean, and give it some texture. Because a lot of these kids listen to this music and the first thing what they do, they want to go get a gun, bang, 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 because they want to emulate what they hear and what they see. You know what I mean? So if you put out a little more positivity in your music instead of with all that beefing and stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe that would make a difference too.
Hey, you did a good job straddling generations, because where do we go from here? That could slide right into a 2021 ballad playlist on Spotify and be at home, and it could be on some playlist between Luther and Anita and be at home.
Right. Right. Because a friend of mine, they went to Chicago and they was like, oh, we put on some Gregory Porter. And then they saw me and they was like, girl, do you know your song in the Gregory Porter mix? I said, child, no, I didn't know. I said, thanks for telling me. So that was pretty cool.
I'm sure I can imagine. And before we get out of here though, we definitely got to talk about Resilience, your album. When should we be expecting it?
Oh,
What
I'm
are some of the
praying.
highlights?
Okay.
What are you excited to talk about it?
Okay. Resilience. That's all. It's going to be awesome. So that's just a compilation of all the tribulations that I've experienced throughout my life, and I figured that I would call it resilience and tell that story
Oh, so
of my life.
you're gonna give us some of that topical music. So I needed you. There we go. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yep, of me. And I'm just hoping that people, when it's released, that they can relate to it or maybe experience something similar, so that'll be awesome.
Do you have
And
any
hopefully by
note?
October.
Oh, I'm
We've
sorry.
been getting a lot of floods up here and stuff. So my basement had flooded. I had to get walls torn out. Oh man, it's been a mess. Okay.
Yeah, she told me off camera the reason she doing the episode in the car is because there's no power in the house. So I hope that situation resolves itself for you.
Yeah, it's like 500,000 people here without power. We got a real bad storm 2 days ago. So they're saying hopefully by Sunday. So fingers crossed.
Damn, George Bush still don't care about black people.
Right? You're right. You're right. But hey,
Mm.
I'm a trooper, so we go,
I
I'm gonna
mean, I
get
mean,
through
you, I
it.
mean, you resilient, but I'm sorry, I cut you off in the album question. Is there any featured musicians or anybody that you especially enjoyed working with or anything of that nature?
Okay, I'm gonna tell them a sneak peek of one famous artist that's on the next release entitled Away From You, which is Ralph Armstrong, who was Aretha Franklin's bass player for 35 years. He's played with Sting, Chick Corea. So he's going to be on my next release.
That's a big
And
gut.
yeah, and he's written a book about Aretha as well, which is going to be released in October. He gave us that sneak peek when I went to sing with him last Friday at Baker's Keyboard Lounge, the oldest jazz club in the world. And he loves for me to come up there and perform with her. So that's one of the world-renowned bassists, Ralph Armstrong, that's going to be on my next release. So people should be staying tuned for that one because it's really hot.
All right, cool. But you know, obviously we're gonna get you to shout out your social medias and everything. But I got one last question.
Sure.
What was it like performing at the International Jazz Festival?
Man, I got to perform with Larry Smith, world-renowned saxophonist. That I was so nervous at first, right? Because it was so many people. But once I got to singing and stuff, it was a lot of fun. Just the groove of the crowd and see people grooving with me and stuff like that. So that was a very exciting moment for me. And then it was an honor for such a well-renowned artist to invite me because you know he done some work with my uncle before in the past. So he was an older gentleman, and it was just electrifying. It was cool. I want to do something like that again real soon here.
I'm
Once
sure
this
I'm sure
COVID.
you'll get that. I'm sure you'll get the opportunity. I mean, you're definitely going places. Well, before I do my little outro, what's your socials on the songs on Spotify and all digital streaming platforms? I'm sure.
Yes, Apple, iTunes, all digital platforms. You can follow me on Carmen Jackson Music on Instagram, Carmen Jackson Music on Facebook, or just Carmen Jackson. Or if you want to follow me on my radio show at Just Carmen 88.1 WHPR.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Hey, stay on after the meeting from it. I want to ask you some. Future Grammy winning Carmen Jackson, Mark Waldo Award, Superfax Show, Superfax Network. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.